The world is collapsing. Volcanoes roar across the land, pouring fire that never seems to end. The skies turn red, the oceans choke, and the forests, once alive with strange, beautiful creatures, fall silent. This is the final chapter of the Permian period. And it's not just an extinction, it's the extinction. Over 90% of all life on Earth vanishes, erased almost overnight in what scientists call the Great Dying. Imagine standing on the edge of this dying world. Ash clouds block out the sun, plunging the planet into darkness. Temperatures crash, then suddenly soar again as volcanic gases flood the atmosphere. Oxygen fades from the air. Even breathing becomes a struggle. Plants die first. Without them, the food chain collapses. Herbivores starve, predators follow, and oceans once teeming with life turn into silent, toxic graves. Even the mighty superocean, Panthalassa, loses its breath. Almost all marine life suffocates as the water itself runs out of oxygen. But how could this happen? Most scientists believe the culprit was a cataclysmic volcanic event, eruptions so vast they blanketed entire continents with molten rock and smoke. For centuries, Earth was trapped between fire and ice, its delicate balance shattered. And yet, even here, at the edge of annihilation, life refuses to give up. Tiny creatures burrow deep underground. In the darkest corners of the seas, microscopic survivors cling to existence. These few remnants of life, fragile, unseen, will one day rebuild everything. From this destruction, a new world will rise. But to understand how it all came to this, how Earth reached its greatest downfall, we must travel backward through millions of years to a time when the planet was still alive and thriving.
Long before the dinosaurs ever walked the earth, another empire ruled the land. An age of monsters unlike anything that came before or after. The continents were fused into one massive supercontinent, Pangaea. Endless deserts stretched across its heart, surrounded by coastlines teeming with strange amphibians and reptilian predators. The air was hot, dry, and heavy with volcanic ash, yet life thrived. Forests of towering conifers and ferns painted the landscape green, and in their shadows roamed some of the largest creatures the planet had ever seen. Among them was Dimetrodon, a reptile with a giant sail rising from its back. Despite its appearance, it wasn't a dinosaur. It was closer to us, a distant relative of mammals. This was a world of experimentation, where nature was still testing what life could become. Massive predators hunted across the land, their sails flashing in the sunlight as they stalked prey near ancient rivers. But the true rulers of this era weren't just the hunters, they were the survivors. Creatures like Lystrosaurus, small, tough, and endlessly adaptable. They dug burrows to escape the burning heat and returned every season, unbroken. In time, it would be these resilient species, not the giants, who would inherit the Earth. Still, beneath all this thriving life, something sinister was brewing. Deep under the crust, pressure was building. A storm the planet couldn't contain forever. Volcanoes began to awaken once more, releasing gases that would slowly poison the air and the oceans. The world didn't know it yet, but the countdown to the Great Dying had already begun. The Age of Giants was ending, and the Earth was preparing to change forever. The Earth is changing again. Forests spread like wildfire across the land, and in their shadows, a new kind of creature begins to take control. For millions of years, life had belonged to amphibians, animals bound to water, forever tied to the swamps that birthed them. But now, something new is crawling out of the wetlands, something that will change the planet forever. This is the dawn of the reptile revolution. Their secret, the egg. For the first time, creatures could lay eggs on dry land, safe from the dangers of rivers and predators lurking beneath the surface. That single evolutionary leap broke the chains of dependence and opened an entire world to conquer. The earliest reptiles were small, fast, and clever. They hunted insects, scavenged carrion, and learned to survive the planet's rising heat. Some grew tougher skins to keep precious moisture locked inside. Others evolved sharper senses, stronger limbs, and powerful jaws. Each adaptation was a step closer to domination. The world was alive with possibility, but also danger. Massive dragonflies the size of hawks ruled the skies. Predators prowled beneath the dense canopy, their scales glinting in the fading light. Every day was a battle between speed and stealth, hunger and survival. From these primitive reptiles would come the architects of the future, the ancestors of dinosaurs, crocodiles, lizards, and even mammals. They were small now, but evolution was on their side. The reptile revolution had begun, and the planet would never be the same again. But if we travel a little further back, the world looks very different, colder, darker, and stranger. Let's step back to 290 million years ago, when Earth was still ruled by creatures that looked more like aliens than anything alive today.
The Earth is lush, wet, and buzzing with life. Vast swampy forests stretch across Pangaea, dripping with humidity and mystery. Mosses cling to every branch, ferns unfurl their delicate fronds, and enormous trees tower above a world still finding its rhythm. Life here moves slowly, cautiously. Survival depends on the smallest advantage. The dominant creatures are amphibians, the first true masters of both water and land. Some are small, darting among roots and reeds. Others are giants, stretching over 3 meters long, with jaws strong enough to crush prey in a single bite. In the dense undergrowth, insects swarm, some so large they would startle a modern bird. Beetles, dragonflies, and early cockroaches navigate this world, shaping the food chains that will define life for millions of years. And in the shadows, the earliest reptiles are beginning to emerge. Small, sleek, and cunning, they quietly carve out niches in this amphibian-dominated world. These early pioneers will one day evolve into the colossal predators of the Permian, and eventually into the first true mammal-like reptiles. Volcanoes rumble in the distance, subtly shaping the climate and the terrain. Seasons change, water levels fluctuate, and yet life adapts. Stubborn, ingenious, relentless. Every leaf chewed, every prey caught, every egg laid is a story of survival on a planet still learning the rules of life. This is the world before fire and famine, the time when amphibians ruled, forests thrived, and the stage was set for the next great leap in evolution. If we step even further back, we find a colder, more frozen Earth, one where the Ice Age still grips the southern lands, waiting to melt and set the stage for life's explosive expansion. Next stop, 299 million years ago, the Icy Dawn. Step onto a frozen Earth, where glaciers stretch as far as the eye can see. The southern continents are locked under thick sheets of ice, the air sharp and biting. Average temperatures hover just above freezing, a harsh, unforgiving world where survival is a daily struggle. Yet even here, life persists. In shallow waters, small fish and early amphibians cling to existence. Mosses and primitive plants creep along the ice-free edges, stubbornly carving out a foothold for the future. The planet is quiet, cold, and still, but it is also alive with potential. Over time, the ice begins to retreat.
Glaciers melt, rivers swell, and forests cautiously emerge from the thaw. This is the dawn of the Permian period, the moment before Earth would warm, forests would flourish, and insects and reptiles would explode across the landscape. Here, in these fragile beginnings, evolution lays the first bricks of a complex, interconnected world. From these small, tenacious forms of life, great forests will grow. The first seed-bearing plants will appear. Primitive reptiles will start to crawl onto land, shaping the blueprint for the giants of the Permian, the creatures that will dominate long before the age of dinosaurs. The icy dawn is a reminder. Life persists, even in the harshest conditions. It adapts, it survives, and slowly, inexorably, it prepares to conquer the Earth. And from this frozen beginning, the story of the Permian unfolds. A story of life, evolution, and the greatest catastrophe our planet has ever seen.